Maya Cole never wanted to leave Earth. She was happy on her family's ranch in Montana, where the mountains touched the sky and the wolves howled at night. Her family had lived on that land for 4 generations, raising horses and training dogs. But when the aliens came, everything changed. The Galactic Coalition arrived 5 years ago. They were not invaders. They called themselves friends. They offered humanity technology, medicine, and a place among the stars. But friendship with the Coalition came with a price. Every member species had to send soldiers to serve in the Coalition military. Earth had no choice. If humans wanted to be part of the galaxy, they had to fight for it. Maya was 26 years old when the recruiters came to her town. They tested everyone between 18 and 35. Maya passed the physical tests easily. Years of ranch work had made her strong. She could ride a horse for 12 hours without rest. She could track animals through dense forest. She could calm a frightened dog with just her voice. But none of these skills mattered to the recruiters. They saw a healthy human female who met the minimum requirements. That was enough. 2 weeks later, Maya found herself on a transport ship heading to the stars. She watched Earth grow smaller through the viewport until it was just another dot of light among millions. She wondered if she would ever see her home again. The Kethvari battlecruiser Dominance was Maya's new home. It was a massive ship, dark and cold, built for war. The Kethvari were reptilian creatures, tall and powerful, with scales that ranged from green to blood red. They walked upright like humans, but moved with the smooth grace of snakes. Their eyes had vertical pupils that never seemed to blink. They were apex predators on their home world, and they never let anyone forget it. Commander Zorath was in charge of Maya's unit. He stood 7 feet tall with scales the color of dried blood. When Maya reported for duty, he looked at her the way a hawk looks at a mouse. "Another human," he said to his officers, not caring that Maya could hear every word. The Coalition sends us soft creatures with weak bones and dull teeth. They expect us to make soldiers out of prey animals. The other Kethvari laughed. It was a hissing sound that made Maya's skin crawl. "Yes, Commander," one of them said. "But at least they are entertaining." For a while, Maya kept her face blank. She had learned long ago that predators respected stillness. Running only made them chase. Showing fear only made them hungry. So she stood still and said nothing. Over the next few weeks, Maya learned her place on the ship. It was at the bottom. The Kethvari gave her the worst jobs. She cleaned waste systems. She carried heavy equipment. She ate last and slept in the smallest quarters. When she passed Kethvari in the corridors, they called her chicken. It was an insult they had learned from human slang. To them, all humans were chickens, weak, stupid, prey. But Maya watched. She listened. She learned that the Kethvari respected only one thing: the ability to kill. Their entire society was built on dominance. The strongest ruled. The weak served. There was no room for kindness or cooperation. There was only power. She also learned something that made her blood run cold. She was not the first human assigned to the dominance. She was the 7th. Corporal Vex was a young Kethvari, smaller than the others, with green scales instead of red. He was the only one on the ship who treated Maya with something close to respect. One night, when they were alone in the cargo bay, he told her the truth. 6 humans before you, Vex said quietly, all dead within their first month. Maya felt ice form in her stomach. How? Accidents. Vex's vertical pupils narrowed. Training accidents. Equipment failures. Attacks by hostile wildlife during ground missions. The official reports are very detailed. Very convincing. They were murdered. Vex said nothing. His silence was answer enough. Why? Maya asked. Why does the Coalition allow this? The Coalition is large, Vex replied. Many species, many politics. The HFY do not want humans in the military. They believe your kind is too weak, too soft. They think giving humans equal status will lower the standards of the entire Coalition. So they send a message, by killing us, by proving that humans cannot survive. Vex looked at her with something that might have been pity. Your first ground mission is scheduled for tomorrow. Commander Zorath specifically requested that you join the team. Maya understood. Tomorrow she would become the 7th human to die on the Dominance. Another accident. Another tragic loss. Another message to Earth that their soldiers were not welcome among the stars. That night, Maya lay in her small bed and thought about home. She thought about her grandmother, who had passed away 3 years ago. Her grandmother had been a strange woman, full of old stories and older wisdom. She believed that humans had a special connection to animals. Not just dogs and horses, but all animals. Wolves, bears, mountain lions, even the dangerous ones. We are not separate from nature, her grandmother used to say. We are part of it. We spent 100,000 years learning to speak with animals. That knowledge is still inside us, in our blood and bones. Most people have forgotten how to listen, but the gift is still there, waiting. Maya had always thought her grandmother was a little crazy, but she had also seen things she could not explain. Wolves that wandered onto their ranch and sat at Maya's feet like old friends. Coyotes that avoided their livestock while attacking their neighbors. Bears that watched Maya from the tree line but never came closer. Even the horses and dogs seemed to understand her in a way they did not understand other people. Now, facing death on an alien ship millions of miles from home, Maya wondered if her grandmother had been right. Maybe humans were special. Maybe they had abilities that other species had forgotten or never possessed. Maybe being prey animals was not a weakness. Maybe it was a gift. Maya closed her eyes and made a decision. She would not die tomorrow. She would not become another tragic accident, another name in a report that no one would read. She would survive, and she would show the HFY what humans were really capable of. The next morning, Maya woke before the artificial dawn. She cleaned her pulse rifle with extra care, checking every component twice. She ate a full breakfast, even though her stomach was tight with nerves. She put on her combat armor and looked at herself in the small mirror on her wall. A young woman stared back at her. Brown hair cut short for practicality. Blue eyes that had seen too much in too few years. A face that showed no fear, even though fear coiled in her gut like a living thing. You are not prey, Maya told her reflection. You are not a chicken. You are a coal, and coals do not die easy. Then she walked out to meet her fate. The dropship fell through the atmosphere like a stone. Maya gripped her seat as the craft shook and rattled around her. Through the small viewport, she could see fire dancing across the hull as they punched through the clouds of Nex Air-7. The planet was beautiful in a dangerous way. Thick jungle covered most of the surface, broken only by rivers and rocky mountains. The Coalition wanted this world for its minerals. Deep beneath the jungle floor lay deposits of rare metals that could power starships for centuries. But the native predators had made mining impossible. Every team sent to the surface had been attacked. Dozens of workers had died. The Coalition had tried robots, drones, and automated systems. Nothing worked. The predators destroyed everything. That was why Commander Zorath's unit had been sent. Their mission was simple. Clear a sector of the jungle so the mining teams could work in safety. Kill anything that moved. Show no mercy. Maya sat at the back of the dropship, surrounded by 20 HFY warriors. They checked their weapons and spoke to each other in their hissing language. None of them looked at her. To them, she was already dead. She just did not know it yet. The ship landed hard in a small clearing. The ramp dropped with a metallic clang, and hot, wet air flooded the cabin. It smelled of rotting leaves and something else. Something alive and hungry. Commander Zorath led the way off the ship. His red scales seemed to glow in the dim jungle light. He moved with the confidence of a creature who had never known fear. Behind him, his warriors fanned out into formation, their rifles ready. Maya was the last one off the ship. The jungle pressed in around her like a living wall. Giant trees rose hundreds of feet into the air, their branches blocking most of the sunlight. Strange sounds echoed through the green darkness. Clicks, whistles, low growls that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Standard sweep formation, Zorath ordered. 2 columns. Watch the trees and watch the ground. The Rathkai can attack from anywhere. Maya had studied the mission briefing carefully. The Rathkai were the reason mining operations had failed. They were pack hunters, 6-legged creatures covered in natural armor. Their jaws could crush steel. Their claws could tear through combat armor like paper. They hunted in groups of 8 to 12, using coordinated tactics that showed frightening intelligence. The Coalition had classified them as non-sentient animals, but their behavior suggested otherwise. The unit moved into the jungle. Maya walked in the middle of the formation, relatively protected. She watched the trees, the ground, the shadows. Every few minutes, she caught glimpses of movement in the darkness. Something was watching them. Something was following Dot. After an hour of walking, Zorath called a halt. They had reached a natural basin, a low area surrounded by rocky outcrops and steep slopes. It was a terrible position. Enemies could attack from above, from multiple directions, with the rocks providing perfect cover. Any soldier with basic training could see it was a trap, but Zorath smiled. "Cole," he said, his voice carrying across the basin. "You will take point." Maya stared at him. Point position meant walking ahead of the unit, exposed and alone. It meant being the first to encounter any threat. It was the most dangerous position in any formation. "Sir, I am not familiar with this terrain," Maya said carefully. "Perhaps a more experienced point now." Zorath's eyes narrowed to slits. "That is an order, human." The other Kethvari watched with cold amusement. They knew what was happening. They were all part of it. Maya walked to the front of the formation. She could feel their eyes on her back like physical weight. She stepped into the basin, her boots sinking slightly into the soft earth. The rocks around her seemed to grow taller, more threatening. She was 20 meters from the tree line when she heard the sound. It started as a low rumble, almost below the range of hearing. Then it grew louder, becoming a growl that vibrated in her chest. It came from everywhere. The rocks, the trees, the ground itself. Maya turned around. The Kethvari had stopped at the edge of the basin. They were not following her. Instead, they had formed a semicircle facing inward, their rifles lowered. Commander Zorath stood in the center, his arms crossed over his chest. "What is this?" Maya called out, though she already knew. "Consider it a training exercise," Zorath replied. His voice was calm, almost bored. "The Rathkai have claimed this territory. We have delivered you to them. Survive if you can, human. Die if you cannot. Either way, you will prove your worth to the Coalition. You are leaving me here to die. We are testing you." Zorath showed his teeth in what might have been a smile. Every species must prove its value. Humans have failed this test 6 times before. Perhaps you will be different. Probably not. The growling grew louder. Maya turned back toward the rocks. They emerged from the shadows like nightmares given flesh. 14 Rathkai surrounded her. They were bigger than the briefing had suggested, nearly 4 feet tall at the shoulder. Their armored hides were black as obsidian, reflecting the dim jungle light. Each creature had 6 legs that ended in curved claws. Their heads were broad and flat, with 6 eyes arranged in 2 rows of 3. Their jaws hung open, revealing teeth that looked like broken glass. The largest one, the Alpha, stood directly in front of Maya. It was massive, easily twice the size of the others. Old scars crossed its armor, proof of many battles won. It opened its mouth and screamed. The sound hit Maya like a physical force. It was a challenge, a declaration, a promise of death. Behind her, Maya heard the HFY laughing. "Die now, chicken," Zorth called out. "Die like all your kind." Maya looked at the creatures surrounding her. She looked at the HFY who had abandoned her. She thought about the 6 humans who had died before her, alone and afraid, murdered by their own allies. Then something strange happened. The fear did not disappear. It was still there, cold and sharp in her gut. But alongside it, something else rose up. Something old. Something that had been sleeping in her blood since before humans had names. Her grandmother's words echoed in her mind. "We spent 100,000 years learning to speak with animals." Maya looked at the Alpha Rathkai. She looked into its 6 eyes and saw something she recognized. Not mindless hunger, not simple animal rage, intelligence, awareness, a creature that knew exactly what it was doing. The Rathkai were not beasts. They were a pack. And Maya Cole had grown up surrounded by packs. She knew what she had to do. Slowly, carefully, Maya set down her pulse rifle. The HFY stopped laughing. The Alpha Rathkai tilted its massive head, confused by prey that did not run. Maya took a breath and stepped forward, toward the pack, toward the Alpha, toward what should have been her death. The jungle went silent. Even the insects stopped their clicking. Every creature in the basin seemed to hold its breath as Maya Cole walked toward the Alpha Rathkai. Behind her, Commander Zorath lowered his arms. His vertical pupils widened with what might have been confusion. This was not how prey animals behaved. They ran. They screamed. They begged for mercy that would never come. They did not drop their weapons and walk calmly toward the thing that would kill them. "What is she doing?" One of the HFY whispered. "Losing her mind," another replied. Fear does strange things to weak creatures. But Corporal Vex watched with different eyes. He had seen something in Maya Cole during their weeks on the Dominance. A stillness. A patience. The quiet confidence of someone who knew secrets that others did not. Maya stopped 3 meters from the Alpha. The creature towered over her, its breath hot and wet against her face. Up close, she could see the intelligence in its 6 eyes. This was not a mindless beast. This was a leader. A protector. A creature that had fought and bled for its pack. She understood it because she came from a long line of people who understood such things. Maya's grandmother had taught her many lessons. How to approach a frightened horse. How to calm an angry dog. How to move through wolf territory without becoming prey. The key, her grandmother always said, was respect. Animals could sense fear, yes, but they could also sense arrogance, cruelty, and threat. The secret was to approach them as equals, not as masters or victims. Maya lowered herself to one knee. She kept her eyes on the Alpha, but softened her gaze. She was not challenging. She was not submitting. She was offering something rare in the animal kingdom, a meeting between equals. The Alpha growled. The sound rumbled through Maya's bones. The creature took a step forward, close enough that Maya could have reached out and touched its armored snout. Its breath smelled of blood and jungle rot. Maya did not move. In her chest, she felt something stirring. It was the same feeling she got when she worked with animals back home. A connection that went beyond words. Her grandmother called it the old tongue, The language that humans spoke before they had words. Body, breath, intent, emotion. The communication that all pack animals shared. Maya made a sound. It came from deep in her throat, a low rumble that was not quite a growl and not quite a purr. It was a greeting, an acknowledgement, a way of saying, I see you. I respect you. I am not here to harm your pack. The alpha stopped growling around the basin. The other Rathkai shifted. Their hunting postures relaxed. They were still watching, still ready, but something had changed. The automatic response to chase and kill had been interrupted by something they did not understand. Maya raised her hand slowly. She held it out, palm up, the way she would offer her scent to a strange dog. She waited. Seconds passed. They felt like hours. Then the Alpha Rathkai leaned forward. Its massive head came close to Maya's hand. 6 eyes studied her face, her posture, her scent. The creature was reading her the way she had read it, testing her, judging her. The Alpha pressed its snout against Maya's palm. Maya let out a breath she did not know she was holding. The creature's armor was warm and rough against her skin, like sun-heated stone. She could feel the power in its muscles, the strength that could kill her in an instant. But there was no threat in its touch. Only curiosity. Only recognition. Good, Maya whispered. That's good. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm not like them. The Alpha made a sound. It was different from its earlier screams, softer and lower. It vibrated at a frequency that Maya felt more than heard. She recognized it somehow. A response. An acceptance. Behind her, the Kethvari had gone completely silent. Maya stood slowly, keeping her movements calm and predictable. The Alpha stepped back but did not retreat. The other Rathkai watched with their many eyes, waiting for guidance from their leader. Maya turned to face Commander Zorath and his unit. You made a mistake, she called out. Her voice was steady, stronger than she felt. You saw a prey animal and assumed I would die like prey. But humans are not just prey. We never were. What trick is this? Zorath demanded. His hand moved toward his rifle. No trick. Maya gestured at the pack surrounding her. These creatures are not mindless beasts. They are intelligent. They communicate. They have social structures and leadership and loyalty. You would know this if you had bothered to study them instead of just trying to kill them. They are animals. So are you. Maya's smile had no warmth in it. So am I. The difference is that my species learned something yours never did. We learned to talk to other animals. We spent 100,000 years forming partnerships with wolves, horses, dogs, cats, birds, and 1,000 other species. We turn predators into friends and prey into partners. It is in our blood. It is in our bones. It is what we are. The Alpha Rathkai moved to stand beside Maya. Its shoulder came up to her chest. Its 6 eyes fixed on the Kethvari line with cold attention. Your species is good at killing, Maya continued. But my species is good at something else. We make friends with things that want to kill us. And once they are our friends, they are our friends forever. She reached out and placed her hand on the Alpha's head. The creature leaned into her touch like a massive dog. You left me here to die, Maya said. You abandoned me to these hunters. But you forgot something important about humans. We are not solitary creatures. We are pack animals. And when we find a pack that accepts us, she looked at the Rathkai surrounding her. 14 armored killers that had been sent to destroy her. 14 creatures that now watched her with something that looked almost like loyalty. We become part of the family. Maya raised her hand and pointed at Commander Zorath. The Alpha Rathkai opened its massive jaws and screamed. It was not a hunting cry this time. It was a war cry, a declaration of alliance. The pack began to move toward the Kethvari line. Commander Zorath finally understood his mistake. He had thrown a human to the beasts, expecting her to die. Instead, she had done something impossible. She had become one of them. And now the beasts followed her commands. "Open fire!" Zorath screamed. "Kill them all." But his words came too late. The pack was already running. And at their center, walking calmly through the chaos, came the human female who should have been dead. She was not dead. She was just getting started. The jungle exploded into chaos. Pulse rifle beams cut through the air, bright lines of light that burned the plants they touched. The HFY fired in panic, their disciplined formation falling apart as 14 Rathkai crashed into their lines like living siege engines. Most of the shots bounced harmlessly off the creature's natural armor. The Rathkai were built for combat in ways that the HFY had never truly understood. Their black shells could deflect energy weapons. Their 6 legs made them fast and impossible to trip. Their coordination was perfect, each creature moving in harmony with the others. Maya walked behind the Alpha, untouched by the violence around her. She had not picked up her rifle. She did not need it. The pack was her weapon now. The first HFY fell within seconds. A young warrior, too slow to move, was pulled down by 2 Rathkai working together. They knew exactly where to strike. Not the thick scales on the chest or back, but the softer joints beneath the arms, the vulnerable throat, the thin membrane covering the ear canals. These creatures had fought HFY before. They remembered every weakness. Commander Zorath screamed orders that no one followed. His unit was in full retreat, running for the tree line that now seemed impossibly far away. But the jungle was Rathkai territory. The pack knew every path, every hiding spot, every ambush point. The hunters had become the hunted. Maya watched it happen with strange calm. Part of her felt sick at the violence, at the screams and blood and death. But another part, the part that had watched 6 humans die as accidents, felt something different. Justice, payback, the universe finally balancing its scales. Corporal Vex ran past her, his green scales bright against the dark jungle. Maya raised her hand. "Stop," she said. The Alpha Rathkai that had been chasing Vex skidded to a halt. It growled but did not attack. It waited for Maya's guidance. Vex stared at her with wide eyes. His rifle hung loose in his hands. He made no move to raise it. "You were kind to me," Maya said simply. "You warned me. You treated me like a person when no one else did. Go. Run back to the ship. Tell them what happened here." "They will not believe me," Vex whispered. "Make them believe." Maya's eyes were cold. "Tell them that humans are not chickens. Tell them that abandoning us is no longer safe. Tell them that if they try to murder another human soldier, we will find out. And we will respond." Vex nodded once, then ran. The Rathkai let him go. Maya turned her attention back to the battle. It was not really a battle anymore. It was a hunt, and the HFY were losing badly. She found Commander Zorath near the edge of the basin. A fallen tree had trapped his leg, and his right arm bent an angle that made Maya wince. 3 Rathkai circled him, their many eyes fixed on his struggling form. He had lost his rifle somewhere in the chaos. Maya walked toward him. The Rathkai parted for her like she was royalty. "Call them off," Zorath hissed when he saw her. His voice was different now. The arrogance was gone, replaced by something raw and desperate. "I order you to call them off." "You don't give me orders anymore, Commander." Maya knelt beside him, close enough that he could see every detail of her face. "You never really did. You just pretended to while you planned my murder. You are a soldier of the Coalition. I am your superior officer. I must nothing." Maya's voice was flat and hard. "You left me to die. You killed 6 of my people before me. You called us chickens." You'd call us prey. You thought we were weak because we don't have scales or claws or teeth that can tear through metal. She leaned closer. But you forgot what prey animals learn to do. They learn to watch. They learn to wait. They learn to find allies in unexpected places. They learn to survive in ways that predators never imagine. Zorath's vertical pupils had dilated so wide they were almost round. Maya realized with shock that he was afraid. She had never seen a HFY show fear before. She had not been sure they could. "What are you?" he whispered. "I am human." Maya stood up. "I am exactly what you thought I was. Soft bones, dull teeth, weak body. But I am also something you never considered. I am a bridge. My species has spent our entire existence building bridges to other creatures. Wolves, horses, dogs, eagles, dolphins, elephants. We found ways to communicate with them all. We made them our partners, our friends, our family." She gestured at the Rathkai surrounding them. "These creatures have been fighting your coalition for 3 years. You sent armies against them. You killed their young. You destroyed their territory. And in all that time, not once did anyone try to talk to them. Not once did anyone treat them as anything other than pests to be exterminated." The Alpha Rathkai moved to stand beside Maya. It was still covered in HFY blood. "I spent 10 minutes with them," Maya said. 10 minutes of respect, of communication, of treating them like the intelligent beings they are. And now they follow me. Not because I'm stronger than them. Not because I can hurt them. But because I'm the first creature in 3 years who bothered to say hello. Zorath stared at her. His mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. "I should let them kill you," Maya said quietly. "Part of me wants to. You murdered 6 innocent people. You tried to murder me. By any standard of justice, you deserve death." The Alpha Rathkai growled in agreement. Its jaws opened, revealing rows of glass-sharp teeth. "But I'm not like you." Maya stepped back. "Humans don't kill people because they're inconvenient. We don't murder our allies because they're different from us. We build bridges instead of burning them." She made a sound, that strange rumble from deep in her throat. The Rathkai around Zorath stepped back. "I'm going to let you live," Maya said. "You're going to go back to your ship with your wounded. You're going to tell the coalition what happened here. And you're going to spend the rest of your life knowing that a chicken spared you when she had every right to kill you." She turned and walked away, the pack falling in around her like an honor guard. "What about the mission?" Zorath called after her. His voice was weak, broken. "The mining operation? The coalition's orders?" Maya stopped but did not turn around. The Rathkai are intelligent. They have territories, families, leaders. They're not animals to be exterminated. They're a species to be negotiated with. She looked over her shoulder. "I'm going to talk to them. Really talk to them. And then I'm going to tell the coalition how to get their minerals without killing anyone else. They will never agree to that. Then they will fail. Again." Maya started walking. "But I don't think they will. I think they're tired of dying. I think they want peace as much as anyone. They just needed someone to offer it." She disappeared into the jungle, surrounded by creatures that had been sent to kill her. Behind her, Commander Zorath lay in the mud and tried to understand what had just happened. He had thrown a chicken to the wolves, and the wolves had made her their queen. 6 months had passed since the incident on Next AR-7. Maya Cole stood before the Galactic Coalition High Council, wearing a uniform she had designed herself. It was simple and practical, with none of the medals or decorations that other species loved. On her shoulder, a single patch showed the symbol of her new division, a human hand reaching down to touch an animal paw reaching up. The council chamber was enormous, filled with representatives from over 60 species. Some were tall and scaled like the HFY. Others were small and furry, or crystalline, or made of living light. They had all come to hear the humans speak. "I, Counselor Thren," Maya said, addressing the shimmering crystal being at the center of the chamber. "Thank you for this opportunity, Captain Cole." Thren's voice resonated like chimes in a wind. "Your report on the Nexus 7 situation has been unexpected. You claim that the Rathkai are not hostile animals but an intelligent species?" "That is correct, Counselor." Maya activated the display behind her. Images appeared showing Rathkai in various situations: hunting, playing, caring for their young, mourning their dead. The Rathkai communicate through subsonic vocalizations that most coalition species cannot hear. Humans can. We evolved on a planet full of pack animals, and we learned to listen to frequencies that other species ignore. "Convenient," said a HFY representative from across the chamber. "A human claim about human superiority, not superiority." Maya kept her voice calm. "Difference. Every species has unique abilities. The HFY are stronger than humans. The Vallani can survive in vacuum. The Thren key can process information faster than any computer. And humans can talk to animals. It's not better or worse. It's just what we evolved to do. Yet this ability allowed you to single-handedly end a conflict that cost the Coalition thousands of lives and billions in resources." Thren observed. "It allowed me to try a different approach," Maya corrected. "The Rathkai were not fighting because they were mindless beasts. They were fighting because we invaded their home, killed their families, and never once tried to negotiate. When I treated them with respect, they responded with respect. It's not complicated, and they have agreed to allow mining operations." Maya nodded. "In exchange for territorial boundaries that protect their breeding grounds, regular food shipments during the dry season, and a formal recognition of their status as an intelligent species. They get security. We get minerals. Everyone benefits." The council murmured among themselves. This was unusual. Coalition problems were usually solved with weapons, not words. "Captain Cole," Thren said finally, "the Council has reviewed your proposal for a new division within the Coalition forces. Xenofauna relations, you call it." Yes. Counselor, you propose that humans serve as intermediaries between the Coalition and species currently classified as hostile wildlife." "I do." Maya stepped forward. "There are thousands of planets in Coalition, territory where native creatures interfere with operations. Mining, farming, settlement, in almost every case. The response has been the same: send soldiers, kill anything that moves. But that approach is expensive, dangerous, and often ineffective. Some creatures cannot be killed. Some fight back harder when threatened. Some have abilities that no weapon can overcome." She pulled up another display. This one showed maps, charts, statistics. Humans offer an alternative. We can go to these worlds and try to communicate, to understand what the creatures want, what they fear, what they need. In many cases, peaceful coexistence is possible. It just requires someone willing to try. "And if peaceful coexistence is not possible?" Thren asked. Maya's expression did not change. "Then at least we will know. And the soldiers sent to fight will have intelligence about their enemy that could save lives. Either way, talking first costs nothing and could gain everything." The vote was unanimous. Xenofauna Relations was approved as an official Coalition division. With Captain Maya Cole as its commanding officer, her first act was to request the transfer of every human soldier currently serving in hostile units. Throughout the Coalition, there were hundreds of them, scattered across dozens of ships, most facing the same treatment Maya had faced on the Dominance. Accidents waiting to happen. Chickens waiting to die. No more. The humans arrived on Maya's new ship, the Harmony over the following weeks. They were beaten down, suspicious, scared. Many had seen friends die in accidents that were not accidents. Many had given up hope of ever seeing Earth again. Maya gathered them in the main hall. "I know what you've been through," she said simply. "I went through it too. They called us weak. They called us prey. They threw us to the beasts and expected us to die. But we didn't die. We're still here. And now we're going to show the galaxy what humans can really do." She told them about the Rathkai, about the old tongue that all pack animals speak, about humanity's unique gift for forming bonds across species lines. "We spent 10,000 years turning wolves into dogs," Maya said. "We rode horses into battle. We trained birds to hunt for us and elephants to work beside us. We are not weak because we lack claws and teeth. We are strong because we learned to borrow strength from others." The humans listened, and slowly they began to believe. A year later, Maya led her team to a world called Darren 4. The native creatures there were enormous, building-sized animals that had destroyed every settlement the Coalition had tried to establish. Thousands of soldiers had died trying to fight them. Maya walked into their territory alone, carrying nothing but a communicator and a bag of nutrient paste. She came out 3 days later with an agreement for peaceful coexistence. The creatures, it turned out, were not aggressive by nature. They were simply protective of their migratory routes, which happened to pass through the areas the Coalition wanted to settle. A slight adjustment to settlement locations, and the conflict ended. When asked how she had done it, Maya shrugged. "I listened. I watched. I paid attention to their body language and their vocalizations. I figured out what they wanted, and I offered a compromise. It's not magic. It's just what humans do." Word spread through the galaxy. The humans were strange creatures, weak in body but strong in something that had no name. They could talk to monsters. They could calm beasts. They could turn enemies into friends with nothing but patience and respect. Other species began requesting human advisors. Agricultural worlds with pest problems. Mining operations plagued by native fauna. Even military units that wanted someone who could scout ahead without provoking attacks. 5 years after the incident on Nexer 7, humans were among the most requested specialists in the entire Coalition. Not because they were strong, not because they were smart, but because they could do something that no other species had ever mastered. They could make friends with anything. Maya Cole stood on the observation deck of the Harmony, looking out at the stars. She was 40 years old now, her brown hair streaked with gray. She had been to 100 worlds and talked to 1,000 species. She had ended conflicts that had raged for centuries, and she still thought about her grandmother. "We spent 100,000 years learning to speak with animals. That knowledge is still inside us, in our blood and bones." Her grandmother had been right. The gift was real, and now the whole galaxy knew it. Behind Maya, a young human officer approached. His name was Derek, fresh from Earth, still nervous about being so far from home. "Captain," he said, "we've received a new assignment. A planet called Nexer 12. The creatures there have been attacking Coalition ships in orbit. The Council is asking for our help." Maya smiled. It was the same smile she had given Commander Zorath all those years ago, when she stood surrounded by Rathkai in a jungle basin. "Then let's go make some new friends," she said. She turned from the window and walked toward the bridge, ready for whatever came next. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not as warriors, not as conquerors, but as the ones who could talk to anyone, even monsters. Especially monsters.